so we can see what you speaking?
Yes.
Okay, so Lon, and this is your practice speech. It's not for a grade, but as you're speaking, the rest of you, Alan, Carolina, and Lucia, I would like for you to take a couple of notes about what she's saying. I want you to look for the main idea, the counter argument, signposts, and that she has 2 or 3 supporting points to validate her ideas. So get a piece of paper, and I'll say those again. We're looking for the main idea. We're looking for a counter argument. We're looking for signposts. And we're looking for 2 or 3 good supporting points to validate her opinion. Okay, so if you're listening, then I want you to do active listening, and at the end, try to be ready to give a positive comment or a suggestion. Okay, I think we're ready to go. So Lon, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. My topic is I believe that nuclear power should be used more in our cities. To begin with, nuclear energy should able be classified and reusable and more accurately create a sustainable energy source. Some people also worry that nuclear power is a big risk. But modern nuclear power is very safe. Despite that, I should tell that we build them as far from the cities as possible. Furthermore, nuclear power is the most environmentally friendly and doesn't pollute the air. In the United States, solar energy costs around 12 cents per hour, 12 cents per kilowatt hour, while nuclear energy costs around 2 cents per kilowatt hour. So nuclear energy costs less than solar energy. Some people think that solar energy is a good energy solution. However, I don't think that's accurate. Solar energy is very expensive and do not last as long as nuclear power plants, and solar panel also take up a lot of space. In source, nuclear energy can provide a huge amount of electricity to our cities for a more reasonable price than another one. I'm finished. Thank you.
I'm finished. You're funny, Lon. I'm finished. Okay. So what was your last sentence? Can you repeat that again? I want to see if that's the conclusion.
In source, nuclear energy can provide a huge amount of electricity to our cities for a more reasonable price than another one. Yeah.
Okay, and did you say a word like in conclusion or in summary at the beginning of that last sentence? Did you have a signpost there?
And I have in source, nuclear energy can
In
provide.
short. In short. Okay, I didn't hear that. Good. Okay, that was really fast. That was about 2 minutes, which is good. That's a really good length. It wasn't long and long and long, and it wasn't really short. So the length of your speech was really good.
Thank you.
And I'm curious to hear now, Alan, Carolina, and Lucia. I know sometimes it's hard to hear different language accents. Okay, so don't feel bad if you only heard maybe one thing or two things. But um, for my listeners, can anybody turn on your microphone and share with Lon something that you did hear that you liked? Something you heard that you liked? Lucia, go
Teacher,
ahead.
yes, Tia, for me is clear. For me it was clear, I'm sorry, for me it was clear main idea. And as I mentioned before, it's a little difficult to understand.
Right.
I'm really sorry. No, I'm sorry. But she gave us complete information about nuclear power and solar energy. I think information was complete, but I didn't understand the conclusion
Okay.
and the signpost. I couldn't write or I couldn't hear her.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing a signpost like also or in addition or
Yes.
another. Lon, maybe you said it, but we just didn't catch it. Did you have any signposts that were also in addition or another? Lon, did you have those or no? Lon, turn on your microphone.
Yes, I have said
Okay, did you say also in addition or another?
yes, I have a lot, teacher.
Oh, okay. I guess we just didn't hear we because the only
Sorry.
I wrote down two signposts. I wrote down despite this, and then you also said in short.
Wow. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
have a lot. Like
no, that's okay.
some people think that solar energy is a good energy solution. However, I don't think that's
However,
accurate.
okay.
Solar
What about
energy is
like
very
also?
expensive. Yes, it's very expensive and do not last long as nuclear power.
Hmm.
Solar panels also take up a lot of space.
Oh, okay. Also, there's one. Okay. Instead of despite this, I think it would be better for you to use what's more. Because you
What
gave a
more?
counter argument and then you shared your point. You said nuclear power is a big risk, but it's safe.
Yes,
And then you said
yes,
despite this,
yes,
but we need to say what's more because it's safe. That's your
yeah,
opinion. And then you're adding another point that's your opinion. So we're going to say what's more, or you can say also after it's safe.
yes.
Okay, but that's good. So you had some signposts. Good job. Carolina, do you want to add something?
Um, I heard the main idea. She says, I think two counter arguments. Um, one
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it was about the nuclear power. She said it was safe, and
Mm-hmm.
the other one it was about the solar energy. And I heard signpost. I think she used the first of all,
Okay.
and yeah, I heard the conclusion.
Okay, great. That's great feedback. So Lon, that's really good news because your listeners heard a lot of your points, your signposts. Um, so good job with that feedback, Carolina. Um,
Thank you.
so one of your points was about cost, and one of your points was about space. Is that right, Lon?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you had a couple of supporting points. And Alan, do you want to add anything? Do you have any suggestions or positive feedback for Lon?
No, teacher. I think I don't have anything to add.
Okay, so for Lucia and Carolina, you guys gave feedback today, so that counts as one of your feedback assignments. Remember, I asked you to do two, listen to two speakers and give feedback. So Lucia and Carolina, this counts as one of yours. So you only need to listen to one other speech and give feedback. You can do that in the Go React speech place online, or you can come back on Wednesday and do it again. So everybody has to listen to two speeches and give some feedback. Okay, good. So let me just mention a couple of things for pronunciation. And then I have a little listening activity for us to do. So the first one is expensive. So Lan, can you say expensive?
Expensive.
You have to say it like it's like
S expensive.
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 No, I'm hearing S. It's hard to say X.
Ex
There we go.
expensive.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
another one is doesn't last as long as nuclear power plants.
Doesn't
last.
last as long as nuclear power plants.
Yes, I think that was one of your sentences. And another pronunciation one is a lot of space.
A lot of space.
Yeah. And then finally we have amount.
Amount.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
And oh, the very beginning of your speech, you said should be able be classified.
No, should also be classified.
Oh. It said should also be classified. Okay, I thought you said be able be classified or something. Okay, should also be classified. That sounds good. Okay, guys.
Okay.
So we're doing a lot today. We're accomplishing a lot. So the next thing I want to do is let's go to page 56. Page 56 in your book. Page 56. So we're going to just do this little listening practice, and then probably on Wednesday, we'll finish up and do page 57. So page 56, look at the top where it says preparing to listen. Let's just look at this diagram for a moment here. On the left side in the box, we see students remember less. And then we have an arrow and it's going to the right and it says students remember more. And then under that, we've got some activities, listening to a lecture, reading a book, watching a video. So what does this diagram mean? We interpret what this chart or this picture is showing us. Can anybody tell me what this means?
Teacher, it's like a skill about what students do less and then what they do more.
What they do less and what they do more?
Yeah, like remember more or less.
Remember more? So give me an example. Like, what do you mean?
Mm, for example, they remember less to listening to a lecture.
Okay, good. So on the left side, those activities, if a student does those activities, they're going to remember less information.
Yes.
But if they're doing the activities on the right side, then they're going to remember more information.
Yeah.
Okay, does that make sense? So in other words, the activities on the right are those activities that students will remember more from. So if I'm teaching another student something, then I'm going to remember that information that I'm teaching a lot longer and more thoroughly than if I'm just listening to a lecture. If I'm listening to a lecture, I might know one or two things that the teacher says, and I can remember maybe one or two things. But if I'm doing something, a task, or teaching another student, I'm going to remember most or all of the things that I'm talking about. Okay? So that's what it means. Lucia, do you have a question?
No, teacher, I would like to share with you, in my case, an article or when I read a book,
Yeah.
and additionally, I write the principal ideas in a piece of paper.
Okay.
It's better for me to remember all the information that I read before. For me, it's easier to remember principal things about it. I think I learn more. In my case, I learn more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so after you read or listen to something, then you write kind of what you heard or listened to. You take notes. Is that right?
Yes, I usually take notes. Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's a good point. Is that one on here? No, it doesn't say anything about writing. Doing a task, maybe. Doing a task might be the writing part. But I think what they mean is you're doing what you're learning. That helps you remember. Have you ever learned to cook something and you read the recipe and you're thinking, well, I don't know if I can do that. But then you start doing it, and after you do it, you actually remember it more easily. Has that happened to anybody? Maybe in cooking or
Yeah.
preparing food? Yeah.
And teaching another student.
Teaching students, yeah.
Yeah.
And also driving. Think of driving a car when you learned how to drive.
Yeah.
People could tell you, make sure you push this, turn that, but you don't remember it until you actually start driving, and
Yeah.
then you're doing it and it helps you remember it for the next time. So the best activities can do to remember more are doing a task and teaching another student. Those are the best activities. Discussing a topic can also be helpful. So that's good. Let's answer a couple of questions and then we'll listen. It says, according to the diagram, what's the best way to learn information? We already answered that, right? Teaching another student. Number two, let me call on Carolina. Number two, what do you think active learning is?
I don't know, teacher.
Not sure?
No, no, teacher. I don't know.
No, no problem. It's just a question. Alan, do you have an idea? What is active learning?
It's like reading, active learning, active. Oh, I don't know.
Active learning is, in my opinion, is when you're doing something as you're listening. You're doing something while you're listening, while you're reading. So maybe active learning could be taking notes while you're listening to your teacher, or participating in a group discussion while you're learning something, asking other people questions and writing down answers. That's what we call active learning. That's my opinion. So what we're going to do is listen to some people talking about active learning, and it will give you a better idea of what this is. So look at page 56 in the middle. It says while listening. Listen to the interview and check the activities that Dr. Ferraro mentions. So we're going to do this together. Okay, so I've got the track here. We'll do at least part of this, and then you guys can tell me what you think.
Today we're speaking to...
Can everybody hear it?
Yes.
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 Okay, good. So here we go. We're doing the middle of page 56.
Today we're speaking to Dr. Eileen Ferraro. She's going to talk about active learning, what it is, and why it's important for college students. Welcome to the show. Thank you. First, what is active learning? Well, most students know that in college you have to read a lot of books and listen to a lot of lectures. But active learning involves more than that. It means interacting with the material, thinking about it, talking about it, using it. If students don't interact with the material, they don't really learn it. Can you give us an example of what you mean? Well, for example, when you read, maybe you underline important points in your textbook. But to really learn it, you should do more than that. For example, you could summarize the chapter in your own words. I see. Some students like to transfer material into a different format. I had a student once who made presentations of the information in every chapter with visuals. That's a great idea. Yes, it helped him to remember it. Then he would explain the material to his study group. Teaching other people is a really good way to learn. I see. So that's why teachers ask students to give presentations. Yes, but it's not just about remembering information. In college, we also expect students to evaluate what they read. This means asking questions. Most teachers love questions because it means that the students are thinking about the material and trying to connect it to their own experience. I suppose project work is another example of active learning. Exactly, yes. But it's much more difficult in some ways. Yes, and some students are not used to this way of learning, but we know that this is how students learn the most.
Okay, so we're going to check, we're just doing section 2. We're just checking the boxes, check the activities that the lady mentioned. Okay, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so let's see what you got. Lan, can you tell us what you checked?
Yes, I just reading and underlining.
Good. What else?
Summarizing, making presentations, asking questions.
Asking questions.
Yeah,
Good.
asking questions and rotate word like evaluate.
Okay, good. So you checked 5 boxes, and that's correct. Reading and underlining, summarizing, making presentations, asking questions, project work.
Yeah.
Those are the things that she mentioned, okay? We're going to skip down to the bottom, and I want to do the small group discussion. So now you have an idea about what active learning is. I want you to give examples of active learning that you have experienced. And Lucia, you already shared an example. What did you say earlier?
That I take notes always when I read a book or when I read an article or something like that. I usually take notes.
Okay, do you try to summarize whatever you read, or do you just underline things and write definitions?
Yes, yes. Sometimes I underline most important out of some
Okay.
any
Um,
topic. Yeah,
do you ever write your own sentences to try to summarize what you read?
yeah. And sometimes I repeat. If I check, for example, some of a sentence or I don't know, if I want to check grammar, I repeat the sentence and I repeat and repeat it, repeat it.
Oh, okay. So you say
Yeah,
it out loud. That's interesting.
yeah.
Okay. And you can share another idea if you have another one, but I want you guys to talk for a minute, and I I think it would be kind of interesting or helpful if we write down maybe 2 or 3 more examples of active learning strategies that we have as students. You know, what do you do to help you learn not only English but other things? You know, maybe you read books or you watch something. You know, what do you do that helps you learn? What have you experienced with active learning? Okay, does anybody else want to share? We're going to put a couple of sentences up here. You can write a sentence or uh, an idea on the board here. Examples of active learning from our class. Raise your hand if you want to add to the whiteboard. We need to get 2 more examples. Anybody have other examples? Alan, Carolina, Lon, do either of you have another example?
I have example like
Reading books, teacher?
Okay, yeah, just write it. Alan, write it for number 2, whatever you feel like helps you. And Lon, what were you saying?
asking the question does help me learn a lot about when I have something to know that the teacher explained a lot and then made me clear. That
Oh,
asking question helped me a lot.
asking questions, yes.
Yes.
And I agree. That's true for me too. That's why I wanted to do these lesson videos where you can join me, because it's very helpful to be able to ask questions right away as your teacher's talking. So yeah. So what do you do, Lan, when you ask a question? Do you write the answer down, or how do you remember that?
After after I ask the question and the teacher or another student explain for me, and then I write the notice on the book.
Okay. So I'm going to type up here for you. Asking questions. Asking questions and then writing what I understand after that. Is that right? For
Yes.
number 3? Okay. Good. And hopefully, Alan, you can write what you put. You said something about reading. And
Yes, teacher, I'm trying to write, but I think I can't. I don't know why. I'm working with a tablet, I think.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, you have
news
a
to me.
tablet today. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so weird when you change devices. You have to learn everything again. Okay, I will type it for you. So we've got reading. And what
reading
do
books,
Mhm.
reading books about the topic.
Okay. And what do you do when you're reading? Do you circle things? Do you write in the book or do you take notes?
I highlight
Yeah.
the things I think are important or things I need to like learn or memorize.
Okay, so reading books about the topic and highlighting important concepts or ideas in the book. Yes,
Yes.
highlighting is a good way to help you remember something. What I like to do when I'm reading, I remember reading to get when I was getting my master's degree, and oh my goodness, I cannot even tell you the I mean like 30 or 40 pages of articles. They're not really books, they're just articles, and it just goes on and on and on. And it was really hard to understand a lot of the articles. But what I would do is look for things that I did understand, and I would make notes in the margin of the paper. And I would just put a topic, like this topic is, this, and then I would read a little more and I'd write the topic of this paragraph. And that helped me when I had to go back and I had to write an essay or a paper. I could go back and find the information because I already wrote the topic of that page or that paragraph. So that's what I do as well. I like to write as I'm reading. Okay. Anybody else have anything to share that you think would be helpful as we are all learning and moving forward in our academic career? Any other ideas?
Teacher, I underline the things that I don't understand,
Okay.
and I always try to summarize.
Okay, that's a good one. So you underline things you don't understand, so that way you can go back and ask a question about it, or maybe look it up in a
Yeah,
dictionary
on
or
internet. Yeah.
okay, good. And then you summarize what you read. Good. Do any of you have any experience taking college classes in your native country? Does anybody have a degree, or maybe you started studying in a university or college? Anybody here?
Me,
Yes.
teacher. Yes.
Okay. Okay, Carolina, what did you study? Oh, you already told us, right? Is that the geophysics or something?
Yes.
Okay. So your ideas helped you as you were learning that subject, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Lon, what did you study?
I study psychology.
Psychology.
Yeah,
Okay.
in my country, I have a degree bachelor.
A bachelor degree in
Yeah,
psychology. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. So you use these techniques, the questions and the writing.
Yes.
to help you. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
But it should not help with English. Just Vietnamese language.
It doesn't help with English. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think learning a language requires a little bit different practice,
Yes.
just because it's so much new material and new information. Yeah,
Yes.
it's almost every word that you read or everything you hear, you have a
Yes.
question about.
Yes. And I want to have the bachelor degree with the psychology in here too. But it's
Okay.
not easy because the language
Yeah,
not easy to learn that sense that mm,
right.
yes.
The language, the way of speaking, the way of writing.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, you have to kind of learn everything. But you can get there, definitely. I've seen lots of students come here and continue studying whatever they studied in their country
Yes.
and and graduate, so it is possible.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Anybody else want to share before we go? Okay, guys. So
Teacher,
that's it. Oh, yes, go ahead.
I have a question for the
Okay.
test.
Yes.
Yes, the passe pronunciation connected speak linking sounds. That's a test.
Linking sounds?
Yes, the linking sound.
Oh, yeah, that's from way back in our first day of the class, from page 41.
Yes, but from the test, teacher, from the test, I did it, but I'm very confused with the five five sentence here.
You were confused
The
with the 5
yeah
sentences?
yeah the question is listen to sentences. Write a linking sound you heard. Y or W. I confuse with Y's because I try to listen to listen to, but I cannot find Y.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about because I don't have the quiz with me right now. So why don't I give the homework and then I'll let everybody go and then you can ask me what you were saying. I can't really give you an answer, but maybe I can kind of point you to the right, help you find the answer. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so just hang on a second. Let me give the homework here. So guys, your homework is to complete your chapter 2 speech in our video class on Wednesday or in the chapter 2 speech in Blackboard where it's a Go React link. You click on the red letters and you can record your speech there. Okay, so do your speech by the end of the day Thursday. And then also do your lab assignment by the end of the day Friday. Remember, there's 2 parts to your lab assignment. You get to choose any video or any radio program you want to listen to. You listen, you summarize on paper on the worksheet. You send me the worksheet in an email, and then you record your summary speech in Go React. Okay, so that's the lab assignment. It's due on Friday. And your chapter 2 quiz is also posted in Blackboard, and that's due Friday as well. Okay, and Friday, Saturday, I want you to go back to the practice 2 speech, or I should say chapter 2 practice speech. And I want you to go back in there and record or type in comments. Do that like Friday or Saturday, okay? Type in the comments on the other classmates' speeches. And today we did that. Lucia and Carolina, you both gave comments and feedback about Lan's speech. So that's what I want you to do. You need to pick 2 classmates to do that for. Okay, so we can all get some good feedback. Okay, does anybody have questions about any of these 4 assignments that we're doing this week?
No, teacher.
No, teacher.
Okay, everybody good. Alan, you're good too. Okay, so I know it's a lot. Just take one thing at a time, work on it, and I'm giving you several days to get it all done. So that is it for today, guys. So thanks for joining me again. By the way, we're spring schedule. It's available to look at right now in Web Advisor or on the TCC website. We've got spring classes that are up, and you can begin registering for spring classes in the 2nd week of October. And big announcement, our classes will be online again. Dun, 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 dun. So, I really miss going to the campus, but we will have online ESOL again in the spring. Okay.
Teacher,
So
I went to campus last week and I lost. I didn't know where